up this morning, about to go make that pot run. I got all this motherfucking shit on my fucking hat. I'm still wearing this hat. I don't give a fuck. I paid a lot of money for this hat. So I'm still wearing it. I don't give a fuck that I can't wash it because it's motherfucking leather brim. Why the fuck do they put a leather brim on the fuck? But the question I really should ask is, nigga, why did you buy a hat with a leather brim on it? And why are you trying to blame other people for motherfucking goddamn your decisions? Nigga, nobody made you buy this motherfucking leather brim hat. That part. So, we starting the day off. We here in the J's in LA. And you know what? It's like I be angry at LA, you know what I'm saying, or people or the population of LA, you know what I'm saying? And then I realize maybe it's me, you know what I'm saying? And I always have to come back to this, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's me. And not to say that people shouldn't be held responsible for their own particular actions. But you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's me. I was talking about the fucking Cosby thing earlier today. I used to actually live, and I don't really want to get into that, but I actually used to live with a girl who used to fuck around with, you know what I'm saying, with Cosby. I don't want to get too specific. If you know of the circumstances in which old girl used to live with me, then that's fine. You know the circumstances. I don't want to get deep into the circumstances. But on a number of occasions, Tony Singletary, which is my mom also knows Tony, and his wife, who was a director on the Cosby Show, used to come pick her up and take her to the airport and all kinds of shit, and she'd come back with bread. Now, so that's my kind of mind state in relationship to the fact that Cosby is more than willing and had other people enabling his predatory behavior. So you know what I'm saying. That's my knowledge of Cosby. I got some other stories I would tell, but you know what I'm saying. The innocent might get fucking and I don't want to do that. I got some Atlanta stories too, nigga. I'd love to tell, but maybe I'm writing a book or something. I don't know, because I'm not trying to incriminate myself. But anyway, that's a true story, you know what I'm saying? This happened when I was, that's too much conversation. I'm not gonna talk. That was in my 20s though, you know what I'm saying? But that was a wake up experience for me. And after that experience, I kind of took a different course. Like the next year, I took a different course because that whole year kind of exposed me to some things that I didn't necessarily want to be exposed, not necessarily wanted to be exposed to. Is just that I realized at a certain point in time in my life that I wanted other things in life than what I was actually really doing in the course that I was going in. Not to say that those things aren't real and those things aren't, you know what I'm saying, human beings make choices, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not a judgmental individual about the choices that individuals make when they make those choices of their own volition. If those choices are forced upon them, then that's a whole different thing. When you know what I'm saying, I'm a firm believer in do as thy wills as long as it does no harm. I'm a firm believer in that. However, you got to realize that whatever actions you have consequences that aren't necessarily restricted to you. That there are consequences for your actions that extend beyond your personal self, or your personal self, beyond self, beyond your person. So that's karma. You know what I'm saying? I was saying something else earlier about that, like how we as men treat women. You know what I'm saying? And we reap the consequences of our behavior. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go out with a mind state of dogging women, and I'm not gonna lie and say that I didn't have that mind state at a particular period of time. That not necessarily dogging women, but necessarily that. Because I felt that I was always being honest. I still feel like I'm 100% honest with any woman that I'm with. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be, and I'll start off relationships like that. I'm not going to necessarily be 100% truthful, but I'm going to be 100% honest. And my honesty starts with the fact that I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to be 100% truthful. Nobody really is 100% truthful. People, people are dishonest though as well as being untruthful. I mean, that's just the nature of the reality of human beings and the way in which we interact. You don't necessarily always want to hear the truth. So, I'm going to be honest as I possibly can be within any relationship, and I always pretty much am, but I have had my moments in which I was more concerned about my own personal needs than the needs of the individual in which I was engaged in a relationship with. And by the time I got to the point of really thinking about the person's needs that I was involved that I was involving myself with, that I would end up getting hurt because I had already set up a pattern of disingenuous, relationships because I wasn't being genuine in my relationship. So I realized that, you create your own reality. And I'm reading this book, this group, the practice and theory of group psychology right now, group psychotherapy right now. And it's incredible how it's just like opening up the way in which human beings interact and the importance of our interpersonal relationships. And that the majority of us have these maladaptive personality behaviors, behavioral traits. And that in itself is destructive to the person. You know what I'm saying? And you can even bring that down to black people as a whole, that black people have really a maladaptive, have as a whole have maladaptive, behavioral traits based on the fact that our definition of person is so skewed by the intersubjective agreement in which we are subjected to, which is, based in white supremacy. If you got that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'll be explaining shit that I understand what I'm saying, but I don't necessarily, know if I'm expressing it or articulating it well enough. But I realized that, dude, we live in a very psychologically unhealthy, structure. We're all pretty much crazy and shit, man. And our standard of psychological norm is not a healthy standard of psychological norm. Our psychological norm standard is a white supremacist based standard of psychological norm. And then it's based upon some physiological norms that causes this, what is called parataxic distortion. And that's what white people have in relationship to black people is paratactic distortion. They see us as the intersubjective agreement programs them to see us, but it's not an actual accounting of who we are as people, individually or as a group. And this is all, and they know this shit. That's the real scary thing about it is that the white psychological psychological industry or field has every understanding of what is occurring to black people and why it's psychologically unhealthy, and aren't going to say anything about it. And it's up to us to kind of like, start waking ourselves up. Ain't no such thing as spirit, man. It's all psyche, man. Because it was some kind of spiritual thing. Black people would have already been free, nigga, 400 years ago. Because we're the most spiritual people on the planet. And we live in this, and because of it, we have the most unrealistic expectations on the planet. No people have more unrealistic expectations of reality than black people. And that, again, is maladaptive, personality, interpersonal behavioral traits. Why our relationships don't work. Our interpersonal relationships are just destructive because we have unrealistic expectations of reality. That's where I'm at right now. I'm just leaving it there.